Good morning to everyone who has joined us. My name is Sonia Foltz, and I am so excited to kick off our 2021 Symposium series for our 6th to 8th grade volunteer teams. Again, my name is Sonia Foltz, and I serve as CEO for Adopt a Class, and we are so glad you could join us, and we really look forward to a great morning together. We've planned interactive sessions where you'll hear from guest speakers, meet team members from other corporate and civic partners, and see lessons and experiences you can do with your classes tailored to your grades. We invite you to use the chat feature, reactions, and other features during our time together. Rachel Gosney, AAC's Marketing Communications Manager, will be our technical support. Thanks, Rachel. I want to give a special thanks to Frisch's as our fall symposium sponsor, our speakers, and to all of you who have given your time this morning to prepare for another great year of mentoring. I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to also thank the AAC staff. What an amazing group of individuals who work so hard to positively impact the lives of so many Greater Cincinnati students. This would be one of those opportunities to use that reaction button and give them a virtual applause or thumbs up. We appreciate all of you do to make this happen today and throughout the school year. While we certainly miss being in the same room together, we want to give you opportunities this morning to connect with one another, just as we would introduce ourselves around tables if we were together. So we're now going to send you off to do just that in a breakout room. If you've never participated in a Zoom call with a breakout room, you'll soon receive a prompt to join a room. Click on that button and you'll be virtually transported to a small group where you can take a moment to introduce yourself, share what team you represent, school you serve, and what you're excited about this year. We'll give you a few minutes to introduce yourselves, and then you will get another prompt to leave the breakout room and rejoin the entire group for our first speaker. Let's wave everyone into their breakout rooms, and we'll see you back here in a few minutes.
I'm Kate McCann. I'm the Senior Education and Relationship Manager with Adopt a Class, and I am thrilled to be able to introduce our first guest speaker. Her name is Karen Zimmer. For the past 6 years, Karen has worked as part of Beach Acres school-based program. In that capacity, she helps students and families at Euler School by connecting them with the necessary resources they need, such as housing, wellness, and mental health, personal empowerment. She has worked as a social worker for over 25 years in many different capacities, and as a parent herself, she says she has a passion for helping families succeed. Karen, I have read that same thing for 3 days in a row, and I still can't nail it down. Thank you, and welcome. So take it away.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. I was saying in my little small group, it's so hard to I have you guys on the screen today because I want to see people's faces. I can't, it's hard to talk to people when you're on the screen, but I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Like Kate said, I work for Euler with Beach Acres Parenting Center, and we work with families to help break down barriers and help them to get resources that they need for their children and the family through school and through the community. So just a little bit of background with working with families during COVID, very different. So we've been working with housing. People are losing their jobs, so then housing issues. We've had a lot of Wi-Fi issues. A lot of families that we work with don't have Wi-Fi, but now all the kids are online and having to do school online, so we have to find out Wi-Fi, and thanks to Cincinnati Bell, they have free Wi-Fi that all the Cincinnati public schools can have, so that's amazing. Food assistance, we were doing a lot of pantry deliveries over the summer and things. Utilities, big one is daycare, because daycares aren't all the way back in, so that's like the pitfall. If you don't have daycare, parents have to work. Where do you put your kids? Now the kids are online at home. Mom can't, I'm very fortunate, and a lot of people are very fortunate to work from home. There's a lot of people who can't, because a lot of our families, they're essential workers. So we're having all those kind of problems. But I think the most thing that we've been seeing and we're trying to work is like the kids with the secondhand trauma. You know, I just rattle off all those things. As us as adults, we go, okay, well, we have to work on this, 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 and this. And we have coping skills to kind of do that. But our little people don't have as many coping skills. And so there's fear, there's anxiety, there's the fear of the unknown. And how do we kind of connect with them and talk to them about these kind of things? Some of the behaviors that we're seeing is like, you know, I always said that like to get attention, a child will do anything to get an attention. Like it doesn't have to be a good thing. It could be a bad thing too, just to get that attention. So we have a lot of parents calling. I had one parent call me just yesterday since the last talk that I did. Parents had to do the MAPS test and they had to give the MAPS test. They just had to, she called us crying in her bathroom because she was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't want them to see me crying. So the kids are feeling that too. They're feeling their parents' stress. You know, and I've been telling parents to kind of like self-care and check yourselves because it kind of trickles down. If like, I know my children are very in tune to me. So if like, it's the kind of thing like if you were on the Titanic or if there's like a tornado and you start screaming, tornado, get in the basement, and your kids get that heightened sense. Whereas if you're like, okay, the weather's coming in, what are our plans? What do we do? That routine of things and just keep that flowing. The kids can kind of follow in suit and they can learn those coping skills. It's really hard during the pandemic because it's a new normal. So I think we all need to be a little bit kinder to ourselves, that it doesn't look the same, but what we're doing is impactful and it really is needed. So I give all of you prompts because you're going to be connecting with these little people that just want interaction. They can't hug, they can't see their friends, you know, they're kind of isolated. So it's really good to draw that out. We have a wellness check now that we do at school where the kids, when they're online, they can do like a happy face, frowny face. And if they do like a frowny face, we reach out to them and say, okay, what's going on? And it's usually anything bad. They just want to talk to somebody. I just miss seeing everybody at school, Miss Karen. It's always just having those conversations and kind of engaging the kids in that respect. I think that when they see you, they're going to be excited. They're going to be, oh, new person. And they just want that interaction. And I think with all of you being online and with them, just actually having that time, you will start to see if you see little different behaviors where one kid is not participating at all. Or then you have one child that's overly participating and kind of taking over the whole group. It's just their way of dealing with all the differences now, like wearing a mask now and maybe going to school, maybe not going to school. So I hope this helps, just a few things, and just have fun with it. I have a saying now that it says, dance like you were when you were 5 years old and you didn't care what anybody thought or was even looking. So, I mean, you know, like when you go to weddings, you always see the little ones on the dance floor, just dancing to any kind of music, just being themselves on the dance floor. Just do that with the children and let them feel that, because I think our little people are growing pretty fast with all this trauma and all these changes, because the world right now is a little bit icky for them. So I think with all of us just kind of helping them and giving them that support, I think it'll be great. So.
Good. Karen, thank you.
Thank you.
All participants, I really implore you now. Karen is here. She's a great resource. If you have any questions for her, if you have any concerns about the ways in which you are going to interact with these kiddos, 6th through 8th grade can sometimes be a little bit of a tough crowd, right? Ask her now. She has really wonderful insight into this particular age range and the demographic of kids in particular that we serve. So if you have any questions, now's a great opportunity. Oh, Evelyn.
There I am. I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. My question, like you said, when we're online and kids are, let's say, taking over, like how do you, get them back in and without being rude or, you know what I mean? How do you control the conversation but keep them engaged?
Well, a teacher and I were just going over this because she has one that he like does things that she has to like put him off. So like one time he was walking through the house and trying to get his family doing things and took his computer into the bathroom with him, like, oh, the teachers, you will have a conversation with the teachers. They're seeing they're having fun with it, but there's a lot of, because you don't have control of them being in their home.
Right.
So, So one time, you have a mom screaming at her other kids in the background while the whole class is listening to that. So it's just very different, and it's you have to kind of tweak stuff. So one of the teachers and so you will have the capacity to mute people, and it's kind of like a timeout. And that's how her and I were talking about it. I said it is, you're going to say, you know what, I really appreciate your insight, but I'm going to mute you right now. And I said, because I'm going to let some other kids have the opportunity to talk, and I'll come back to you, and you mute them, and they can't unmute themselves if someone mutes them on Zoom and Google. Like they've noticed that. So it's kind of like just kind of putting some boundaries on it, because it is a virtual classroom. So, I mean, how do the teachers are like, I can't, the older grades, like there's been kids that are cussing the teachers out. And so now they have a security person on the Google. It's just, everything's changing so much, and we just kind of have to, that's why I said to be kind with ourselves. It's not going to look perfect right away, but I think that would just be one of them, or just give them the option, like, I'm going to have to mute you if you don't give other people an opportunity. And sometimes teachers, they write the names down and they call the parents. Like they get somebody to call the parents, not that you guys would have that capacity, but the muting is like, and the younger kids, they understand now that it's like a timeout. Like, I'm putting you over here, timeout, you're not behaving.
Okay.
Does that answer?
Yeah, that's helpful.
So
Yes.
I think that's great insight too, Karen, but I think it's also important that you work with your teacher on some of her virtual etiquette that she uses in her classroom. So you want to find some of those things out in advance, so that the both of you are on the same page on how to navigate, if you have behaviors, or that if you run into challenges, which is also a good idea. Several days before you do your lesson, you want to always send your lesson to your teacher, so she knows what's planned, what's going on, so she can assist you and help you navigate through any of those challenges that you may have. But if she is using some virtual etiquette in her classroom, you want to know what that is so you can tailor your lesson to kind of fit what she's doing already, so that the kids kind of know. Okay?
Great idea.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Everybody feeling okay about working sort of in this new environment, in this new world?
Hey, Kate.
Yes.
So part of what I just heard sounded like a lot of mirroring with our teachers, whether it's he or she, they have certain ways that they run their classroom, and their students are probably used to that. So that clear communication, as the young lady just spoke a minute ago, is absolutely crucial mirroring those things that they do as well. And then any kind of tricks or things that you can pull on here are key. Another thing about muting, just for those of you that may or may not know about it, they actually have to ask for permission to unmute. So a clearly laid out plan and maybe a kind of an opening statement to say, hey guys, if you get unruly, this is how we handle this. And then let them know they can always ask for permission to get unmuted and then be able to come back into the conversation. Because the last thing we want to do is stifle our students. We don't want them to feel like they don't have a voice or that we're trying to cut them off. But they do have to understand that there are rules that we all have to abide by. So that's really good feedback. Thank you all.
I agree. Thank you for that. Okay, well, we'll definitely have a little bit more time at the end if you all have any other questions, if you want to pop them in the chat. I know Karen can hopefully respond to that as well. Okay, and you all know, as always, if you know, after we've sort of done all of this, if you have any questions or comments or any concerns, you guys are feeling a little uneasy or unsure about what your year will look like, please reach out to us. This is new to all of us, right? This is very new to all of this. So we will all be part of this together to make it as successful as possible. So with that said, one of the highlights here, right, is that you all get to take away from our symposium a couple of really cool lessons that you'll be able to actually use in your classroom. So that's what we're actually going to transition to next. We are going to do a 10-minute little engagement activity called Can You Spot Fake News? Okay, this is perfectly age appropriate for the 6th to 8th grade crowd. We're going to go through a series of news headlines. Rachel will pop them up here in a second, okay? Using your reaction buttons, so your thumbs up or your thumbs down, we are going to determine if the headline that we are reading is indeed fact or fiction, okay? And then we'll sort of gather the consensus and then we'll move on to the next one. We did this as a group yesterday. They're quite funny, actually. So I think that you guys will actually really enjoy this. Like, as I said, perfectly age appropriate. This is actually in our virtual curriculum guide. So we have created 3 separate grade banded virtual curriculum guides, which will be going up on our website, which is essentially all of the lessons that you will need for your year that require little to no materials, that are still engaging and somewhat impactful. So those will be going up on the website soon for you all to use. Use any of it, use none of it, use part of whatever it is you guys want to do. The name of the game is ease. So we've tried to create and give you everything that you need. They are literally written for somebody who doesn't know how to live life, right? They are very detailed out for you, not because we don't think you're all capable, but again, just because we want to make sure to make things as easy as possible. So with that said, Rachel is going to go ahead and share the screen. We are going to play this game called Fake Out. And as I said, you guys use your thumbs up or your thumbs down after reading the headline. And then we will get started. All right, teen lights driver's armpit hair on fire, causes crash. True story? Not a true story. What do you guys think? Use your reaction buttons.
So how does, where is that? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it.
Can you see Rachel's screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen. I just,
It's the reaction button. It is down at the very bottom.
oh, I see it. Thank you.
So what do you think?
Oh, wait, mine doesn't give me another option. Hold on.
Oh, Michael is saying, hold on, Michael's helping. Maybe use open mouth for thumbs down.
Yeah, mine doesn't have a thumbs down either. So yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, mine,
I only have 2.
I only have 2.
Okay. What are the, how about we ask for a volunteer or actually use your thumb as Rachel just demonstrated. Excellent idea, Rachel. Thumbs up. People think that is thumbs up. All right, let's see, Rachel. Wow, all righty. Who knew?
Wow.
The next one, average person swallows plastic equivalent to a credit card every week. So It's a lot of
I hope
pencil.
not.
God, I hope not too.
That's a no for me. I can't get the other one.
You think a no?
I hope not.
I hope not too. Oh my God. All right, let's go with no on that one. Okay. That's horrifying.
That is,
Right. Jeez. What are we all eating? All right, man stops in the middle of highway to catch Pokemon's Pikachu, causes major highway accident. I actually can see this being true.
I can too.
No, Jen is saying no. Make sure you guys are actually using your thumbs up. Rachel, I think you can see everybody maybe a little bit better than I can. Is the majority a thumbs up?
Typically, Pokemon don't spawn in the middle of a highway, so that's the
Oh,
only reason I say no.
So Jen
Thank
says
you.
no. Let's go with Jen. And we'll say no to that one. Rachel!
Good.
Oh, you're on mute too. I can't hear you either. Okay. Oh, woman gets super glued to Walmart toilet seat. I can actually see this being true too. What do you guys think? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I hope not, but
Too, man. Let's go thumbs down on this one. Oh gosh. Right. Candace had it right. She was like, for sure that's true. All right, next one. Water fluoridation linked to diabetes and low IQ. What do you guys think?
same.
Yep, I'm gonna go with Ed on this one. I think no. Can't be true. Yay! Okay. This is amazing, and I really want this to be true. Japanese pancake baths let you bathe in maple syrup. Yeah, Ed likes that as well.
I'm gonna say no, but
Tara says thumbs up. Let's go thumbs up on this one. Yes, we will be finding that. Next. Oh, I kind of want this to be true too. This hedge cat took a whole year to create. Anybody think that that's possible? Yeah, Michael, I'm with you. No way.
Sure.
No way. Wendy really wants it to be true too. No, I'm gonna go no on this one.
Oh,
Sad, I know. Fisherman captures 3,000-pound great white shark in Great Lakes. Come on, guys.
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no on this too. Yeah,
Good.
obviously false, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is an actual photo. This lizard really knows how to live. Agreed. I want that to be true. I want that to be a thumbs up. Oh, yay. What a fun photo to capture.
That is. Oh.
For the first time in history, no babies were born and no living people died on February 27, 2019. Come on, guys. I think we all know, right? Okay. So that is just a fun, quick little game that you can, oh, we're not so bad, right? Yeah, there. That is just a fun little game that you can do for your 6th to 8th graders, right? Here's the thing about it. After this lesson is complete, this is a really good opportunity for you guys to talk with the students about the importance of being able to tell whether or not a story is actually fact or fiction. We have some links that are actually in the website that are going up on the website from Common Sense Media that give you a couple of things to make sure you let the kids know to look for. Look for layout and grammar errors. Look for things like, do great white sharks actually live in the Great Lakes? You know, the sort of obvious things that would stand out to the kids. Make sure they're looking for any sort of unusual URLs if they're doing a lot of their research online. Use some fact-checking sites, and we have some lists of those that we'll put in the lesson plan as well. You can do reverse image searches. So there's all of these sort of tips and tricks that you'll be able to share with the kids so that they're able to definitely spot the fake news. Now, the important part of that is 6th through 8th graders are doing an astronomical amount of research. They're writing a lot of papers at that point. This is really sort of an important thing for them to be able to know how to do, so that when they're writing said papers, they are writing based on fact and what they're finding, and they know how to look for the fake stuff, right? You definitely want to make sure that when you're talking to them and sort of doing this lesson with them, you do sort of train them on how to look for those reputable sources, right? And it can be hard. I mean, there's you know what people say, like, if you read it on the internet, it must be true, right? We know as adults, that's not the case. The kids don't necessarily know this to be true, right? And they read something, they find it really cool, and they want to pop that in their paper. And then the teacher's reading it going, hang on, this is not truth, right? So this is a great opportunity for you guys to sort of do a deeper dive. As I said, that's perfectly age appropriate for the kids from 6th to 8th grade because they are doing so much writing. What we are going to do now is we're going to head into some breakout rooms. You all are going to be given a word in your breakout room, so make sure you're paying attention to the top there, because typically the word kind of goes away pretty quickly. So when you're in your breakout rooms, everybody be looking at the top of your screen. You're going to have a word, and you are going to be tasked as a group to come up with a fake news headline, or sort of the most outrageous headline that you can come up with using that word. Okay? Sound good? All right, I'm gonna snap you into your breakout rooms. Be super creative. When we come back, we're gonna share out with the group, okay? I have high expectations.
Kate, I don't want to cause panic, but you'll see when ours get.
What? You just stopped talking. What will
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter who says what, because we had a young lady that was taking notes. She was doing amazing, and Ed came up with the idea off of my picture. So we'll see how this goes.
You have a picture? Uh-oh. All right, so here's what we'll do. We'll take one person from each of the breakout rooms. Did we determine whether or not everybody has a thumbs up? Maybe just put your thumbs up. Rachel, can you see everybody?
I can see most people who have their screens on, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the ones with the thumbs up, that's who we'll call on to give your headline, okay? Sound good? Look, now I see some thumbs up going away. You guys are just like a classroom full of students. You're going, no, never mind. Don't call on me. Okay, Rachel, you're up.
Okay, so from breakout room 1, we had Josh and Lydia. So if Josh or Lydia wants to share the headline that they came up with, go ahead.
Share your chicken headline.
Geez, no pressure. I have to be the first one.
Yep.
All right. We decided with coronavirus is spread through chickens.
Oh.
Very timely.
Very timely.
All right, that's a good one. Let's see what breakout room 2 came up with. We had Chris, Denise, Ed, and Shanna.
So our chicken headline, not to trump yours, is Kentucky Fried COVID, franchise files for bankruptcy after COVID contracting chickens recalled.
Oh,
dude.
That's very timely with our session yesterday that had a lot of tongue twisters in it, and I really liked that one. That one was good.
I 100% think that would cause panic in our country.
All right, so breakout room 3, we had Jen, Lisa, Wendy, and H. Luck.
Yeah, we came up with Roscoe from Clucky Farms becomes famous chicken with $1 million art sale.
Fancy.
I like it.
Too. These are so creative. All right, breakout room 4, we had Amy, Michael, Mildred, and Tara.
Yeah, ours sounds more like a fake fact, but there are more chicken road signs than deer crossing signs. You can cross the road.
That's terrible.
That's funny. All right, breakout room 5. We had Dre, Kate, Megan, and Michael.
I had unmuted and lost my note. Okay, I got it. So a Florida man crosses the road with his speckled chicken into a Publix and buys a bucket of fried chicken.
I like it.
We decided that any headline starting with the words "a Florida man"
Yeah.
is a winner.
Now everyone's making me really hungry talking about fried chicken.
Exactly.
But and the headlines aren't so great, so maybe I don't want chicken now. They don't sound like chicken will turn out well for me. All right, breakout room 6. We had Brian, Candace, and Evelyn.
All right, so last Sunday in Cincinnati, there was a 10-foot tall orange chicken spotted crossing the highway near downtown Vine Street, and he was holding a sign that said, "Eat more beef."
Yeah.
Very creative.
Very Cincinnati specific. I like it. All right, breakout room 7. We had Gordon, Robert, and Arlind.
All right, so we actually came up with two of them. So the first one is pregnant woman eats so much Chick-fil-A when she gives birth, she has a baby chicken.
Oh.
And then the second one is a man dressed in chicken suit forcibly removed from McDonald's for trying to save his chicken family.
I like it.
I feel like I would read both of those too.
Yeah. Very clickable headlines from everyone. Totally. So the last breakout room we had was Jen, Mike, and Zanik.
All right, so ours was 250 chickens involved in a crash need homes. And that is true, by the way.
What?
Yes, it happened in Fort Worth.
Were they adopted out? Did they find homes?
I didn't read all the story, but yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, we had something similar on I-75 years ago where Tyson chicken was all over the highway, but they were dead.
Oh,
God. What a way to end it there, Evelyn. Thanks. Okay, so you guys can see how doing an activity like this would work for the kiddos. 6th through 8th grade, you're likely going to get some pretty funny and creative KFC adoption agency. I just read that. Ed, you're likely to get some really funny headlines from that particular age range as well. Again, this is something that will be going up on our website in addition to a bunch of other 6th through 8th grade lessons. Just so you know very quickly, we have broken up our Adopt a Class year into different sort of themes or segments for the course of the year. The first quarter, we are working on literacy. So when you are looking at the virtual curriculum, virtually everything in there will have to do with something dealing with literacy. There's a lot of poetry sort of activities in there, obviously the news activities and those sorts of things. So, all right, any questions on that particular activity before we move on to the next one?
I have a really quick question. So how is it easy to break the kids into set into different groups, or how does that work?
So here's the thing about that, and this is written pretty explicitly in the actual lesson plan itself. Unfortunately, just as you cannot be left alone with the kids when you're in an in-person visit, you can't be in breakout rooms with the kids alone either. So you won't be working in breakout rooms unless, of course, you have a CPS staff member available to be in each of those breakout rooms. The likelihood of that happening, given sort of what staffing is like now, is pretty nil, right?
Okay.
So you can do this as a whole group activity, right? Similar to how we did it. And then what I would do when it comes time to do the fake news headline is maybe just task them all with doing it and say, we're gonna give you about 5 minutes and we'll give you a word and you guys can just write it down on a sheet of paper really quick. And then you'll share out that way. If you have the ability to have, you know, even an additional teacher in there and you want to break into 2 separate rooms, but you know you have a staff member, you can do that and then they can work in groups. But we've put that all in the curriculum. As I said, it's spelled out pretty clearly for you guys as to how to make each of these work. as successful as possible so that it doesn't wind up being sort of a big mess, right? That's clearly not what we want.
And that's another great opportunity to engage your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Your teacher can guide you on that.
Any other questions? Everybody feeling okay? All right, Zanique, you are up.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I am Zanique Austin Betts, the Program Manager of School Relationships. And today I'm going to show you how to use pictures as writing prompts to get students engaged in writing. Or students can also participate in academic conversations with pictures that stimulate vocabulary and critical thinking skills, okay? So for today's lesson, I'm gonna model how to start the process for using pictures to do a quick write or a short story, or just to have conversation, because sometimes students just wanna talk. So you can use them as a writing prompt, quick write, or a conversation starter, okay? What's also important is that you want to use pictures that matter to them. You want to use issues that are current, real, and relevant. And that's how you're going to get the best conversation and the best stories, okay? And this activity could take you about 20 to 30 minutes. It just depends on how many pictures you use, okay? And you want to remind the students, if they write, to not really worry about conventions, because you want them to focus on their creativity. If they're worried about spelling and things like that, you really won't get the creative side of them, okay? All right, let's go ahead and share our images. Okay, so this is called Write a Story, but again, you can use them for conversation starters. Go ahead, Rachel. Okay. So, is there a notable cook in your family? If so, what are his or her best dishes and why? So basically you would display this picture and you could either have the students talk about it and call on different students, or you can give them a few minutes to kind of put some things in chat. With the older kids, they'll probably want to put some things in chat, and I'd like for you to go ahead and do that also. Answer the question, and then we can kind of talk about some of your responses from the chat. All right. So Mike said, my wife does pasta dishes because they're very easy. Ed, my mom's chicken. Oddly, she doesn't eat poultry. All right. My grandma and her country spare ribs. Okay. So basically, well, your follow-up question to that would be basically, so if I picked, they're coming in pretty quickly too. So Andrew, you said my mom and her pie. So why is that your favorite for you? Andrew?
Partially just because I like pie.
Andrew, that is actually the one thing I will never forget about you, is that you love pie. We actually have a whole video, everybody, on Andrew talking about his love of pie in the classroom.
That's right. You do have that, don't you?
Amazing.
And so Tara, you said your grandma makes noodles every Thanksgiving. What's special about her noodles?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I really enjoyed it. I've tried to replicate it multiple times and I can't do it. So I feel like it's a unique thing and it's something I remember a lot from Thanksgiving.
Okay. So this is just another way for students to kind of write, have conversation. If you do have the students write this, you can have them just say, open up a Google document, because many of the students will be using Google applications to do most of their work with their teachers. So if you want them to write something and then share it with you later and share out to the group, you can have them open a Google Doc, or you can just have them write on pencil and paper and share. Okay? Next slide, Rachel, please. All right. So look at this picture and think about it before you respond. You like to explore. What's the most interesting, exciting, or memorable journey you have taken on foot, by bike, in a car, by a boat, or train? Why was this experience exciting or memorable for you? Take a moment. You can answer in chat if you'd like, and then I'll have a few people share out. Someone said, I slept on the floor of a ferry.
Oh gosh.
I slept on the floor of a ferry just to go to Croatia for a day. Donkey and
Oh, wow.
People love Croatia. Oh, that's amazing.
I've done that too, Michael. Awesome.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Like, what if you get a lazy donkey or something? And, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just from
Wow.
Wow.
Dude, I want to travel with some of you.
Yeah.
Max, I agree with you that the best trip is always the way back home.
By boat up a river in Cambodia. Mm.
There's nothing like sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
That's awesome.
So as you can see, pictures convey, really great messages, and they really help with communications. So if you didn't want your students to write and you just wanted to talk, you can use pictures and all sorts of images you can find online and just put them in a document for discussion or for writing. So do we have any questions? We're going to skip breakout rooms, but do you have any questions about this particular lesson?
You guys have anything that you could add to this lesson that you think?
Right. Mm-hmm.
What are you guys thinking? Spur any ideas for you?
I think the advent of actually combining this and the other one.
Yeah.
So actually combining the two exercises. So actually show them a picture and actually have them come up with a headline based upon the picture.
Oh,
so they use headline based upon the image, and then you can share the actual headline at the end.
I like that.
I do too. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
I do have a question. With like going around the classroom, is there like a certain way that you'll have like everyone share? I know here we just like asked a couple people from the chat, but I know sometimes we don't want to leave kids out. We want everyone to have a chance to respond. Is it just like, I don't know if the squares show up the same way for everyone, if we just like go down the rows, or is there like a way that you guys like to do it?
That is a great question. And we have actually sort of spent probably way more time than we should have trying to figure out the best ways to sort of organize everybody, right? So in the lesson plans, you'll see that we have a couple of different suggestions. One being that the kids are just numbered right off the bat. So the classroom teacher will assign them a number, and then they will always know, hey, number 1, you go first. Number 20, you go last, right? You can reverse it if you want to. I think one of the really, really important things to remember is this: when you're sort of working in this sort of an environment, right? You kind of feel like everybody's eyes are on you when you're talking. It just is different from being in person. Please make sure you always give the kids the option to pass if they want to as well. So we have the number system sort of that you can utilize, but also if they have the different reaction features, so using those thumbs up, provided that everybody has that, just using your hand to do the thumbs up or the thumbs down, right? If you want to do a snap, something like that. The teachers who will have been doing this for quite some time by the time you all sort of are unleashed on the kids, right? She'll be able to have some really good tips and tricks to guide how we're going to know who's going to go next. And because it will be sort of done in a large group environment, it's going to be really, really necessary that you sort of nail down who is going to speak and when. Utilizing the chat feature is fantastic, right? That's really feasible for you all to do because you have the older grades. So that will make it markedly easier for everybody.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions? How about our team from RDI? You guys are a creative bunch. Can you see using this in a different way, or what do you think?
I think there's a high probability of being able to utilize some of these activities in ways that we can kind of mix in some of our own, greenhouse or solar focus. So I think it'd be very interesting.
Yeah. I noticed Chris in the chat had a good suggestion too. And I should clarify, we have RDI on this call and we have RBI on this call, two very separate companies. But Chris from RDI suggested alphabetical too as a way to do it. Again, that's a great thing to talk with your classroom teacher about and ask sort of how she's kind of managing who's going next, right? All right. Any other questions? We're feeling good about that one? All right. Thank you, Zanik.
You're very welcome.
I am super duper excited to be able to introduce our keynote speaker. This guy is pretty amazing. He's got some great insight for you all to share. His name is Rafael Ferrar. He started his career with Johnson & Johnson in 2004 as a senior recruiting specialist for J&J Talent Acquisition. He's been the recipient of numerous awards, including a J&J National African American Leadership Council Leadership Award in recognition of his support of diversity activities at Johnson & Johnson. Rafael was the guest speaker during our Ethicon team's on-site field trip when they hosted 2 fourth grade classes from Lincoln Heights Elementary in Princeton School District. He did a phenomenal job getting the students pumped up for what they were about to experience as they toured the facility. Rafael, you're up, buddy. Third time.
Third time a charm. This should be like flawless. Should be flawless. So first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this. And this is interesting being in all three, to seeing the different type of tools and programs that you're sharing with the participants. So I'm super, super excited just to see some really, really cool things that's going on. So again, my name is Rafael Ferrar. I'd like to thank the Adopt a Class organization for allowing me the opportunity to come to speak to you today. I am a business unit HR supply chain manager for the Johnson & Johnson company. I support the Midwest and Northeastern cluster. I've been with J&J for about 16 years, supporting a variety of HR and talent acquisition roles, D&I, things of that nature. I've had the opportunity to engage students from the Adopt a Class over the last couple of years, but last year in particular, I was able to be the welcome address for the students at my campus and had a great time doing it. The kids were so engaged and so excited about being not only at the site, but away from school, right? It was an actual field trip for them. So they were super excited to be in our gym, right? We actually have a gym at our facility. So they're seeing the basketball court and all the other cool things that we have inside our facility that really, really wowed them. A little bit about me. I was about 6 years old or so when my eldest sister was tragically killed by a drunk driver. She actually saved my life, sacrificing her own. Um, this happened directly across the street from our home, and my mom couldn't bear looking out the window to relieve that tragic experience. Um, it was the fact that we crossed the main street, and then right across the street from our home was a VFW lodge, and in that driveway is where we were both hit, and she succumbed to her injuries. But I don't remember a lot about that timestamp. I remember crossing the street. I remember getting hit. I don't remember being in the hospital or anything else. But I remember that, my mother just could not continue to stay there. So we decided that we needed to move. During that time, we ended up moving to Winton Terrace. And if you've local to the Cincinnati area, you know that Winton Terrace is one of the toughest neighborhoods in the Cincinnati area. And in my mind, we lived a normal life. In the late 70s, 80s, we rode our bikes, we played baseball and football, all the things that kids would do. I also played Atari, right? So I'm dating myself there. But those are the cool things to do back then. To be honest, we didn't even know that we were poor, but we certainly were. My parents worked extremely hard to make sure that we had food on our table. Maybe not what we wanted, but certainly something to eat. We were on food stamps and public assistance and lived in subsidized housing. And there was times that we did not have electric. We ran an extension cord to our neighbors to have lights sometime during the winter time. And we used candles to do our homework. From all accounts, you would never knew something was going on with us. But it was programs like this that made the difference. It gave me the opportunity to see the possibilities. I was able to participate in a variety of different programs like junior achievement and other adult volunteer programs that allowed me to learn about different careers and see a number of positive influence through these interactions. I was able to go to Wanty Hills High School, where I continue to fuel my education and my ultimate ticket out of the hood. I remember telling people that I didn't live in Winton Terrace. I pretended I lived in College Hill as to not be ridiculed for living in the projects. The area of Winton Terrace that I lived in has long been demolished. It's nothing but ground trees and overage, but the memories are still there. I committed myself that my children would never have to experience the things that I experienced growing up, but taught them to work very hard and understand that nothing is given to a person. I have 3 sons. All 3 of them have done very well for themselves. My youngest is a junior at St. X High School. My middle boy is at Cincinnati State, taking up culinary arts, so I can't wait to eat his homework. And then my oldest son is at the U.S. Naval Academy in his final year playing football for them. So go Navy. For several years, I had the opportunity to continue working with children, from coaching AAU basketball, mentoring kids through the YMCA Black and Latino Achievers Program, and our youth ministry at church, just to name a few. Your participation in this activity may be the spark that impacts a child's life. I say all the time, if I had to do it again, I'll be a pediatrician, because I met my first Black pediatrician 21 years ago when we saw when we had our first son, and I had never seen a Black pediatrician growing up. So your influence matters. Your time matters. So what I employ to you today, as you embark in this year's activity with the kids, is be authentic. Let them know that you're there. You want them to understand that they're someone. They matter. They can be whatever they put their minds to. And sometimes it's just a conversation that you may be having, even through Zoom, that may help them see a way out. a way out of their situation. Their situation is just a preparation for their destination. So I'm hoping that, you know, during this time that you spend the time with these children, that you tell them a little bit about your story, you tell them about the struggles that maybe you had in one of your classes that may resonate to them, right? That, okay, this person is successful, but they had a hard time in math. They had a hard time in English, right? That comes off to be more real to them than I got it all figured out, right? They kind of get that with their parents, right? So show them another side of an adult, that we had our struggles in some classes as well, but I was able to really dig in, get the necessary resources to be successful. So again, thank you so much for Adopt a Class, for allowing me to have the opportunity to speak to this class for this year. It's been an amazing couple of days just getting to meet each and every one of you, and thank you again.
Well, thank you, Rafael. We so appreciate you sharing your story, sharing your time over the last 3 days so that all of our adopter volunteers could hear your story and can resonate with the impact that you all will make this year in these children's lives. So if you have just a word or two for Rafael, feel free to put that in the chat. I see some people already doing it. Just huge impact, and really appreciate you sharing so authentically and talking about the impact we can all make. Well, it is time for us to wrap up our session together, and we're wrapping up 3 days of this where we have spoken to almost 200 volunteers. So we are so grateful to have you all here today. We hope that this first symposium session provided you with greater insights into how this year of Adopt a Class will work in practice. We appreciate your flexibility, your patience, and how engaged you've all been as we plan and prepare to make this an incredible school year with AAC. We want to send you off with a few announcements and next steps so that you and your teams are ready to go for your first mentoring session in October. First thing to note is that the Adopt a Class Safety and Security Agreement must be completed and returned to us prior to your first mentoring session. These will arrive in your team lead emails in the coming days. Please make sure you read the safety agreement carefully and fill out all of the relevant information so that we can keep you and your team up to date with all of our communications throughout the year, including our adopter newsletters. Adopt a Class will be extremely high touch this year with our communication so that we make sure you have everything you need to have a successful school year. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, need additional information for us, or if you just want to brainstorm. We're happy to help. With that being said, please begin also reaching out to your teachers if you haven't already to begin planning your mentoring sessions for the year. Unless we've already reached out to you, you are matched with the same teacher you had last year. So please begin reaching out with them to schedule your sessions for the year and to discuss activity ideas, including dropping off materials, snacks, and donations if you choose. Once you have each visit, don't forget to log them into our Mentor Tracker. The Mentor Tracker is available on our website at aacmentors.org. The information you provide in that Mentor Tracker is incredibly useful and necessary for our continued growth and success. The Mentor Tracker is instrumental in understanding our total impact and providing you with specific details about your team, classroom, and contributions each year. At the end of this week, Adopt a Class will be following up with a replay of today's recorded session. Please share the recording with any of your fellow team members who were unable to attend the training. We will also be following up with our first adopter newsletter. Each month, we will send out the adopter newsletter with information regarding AAC news, icebreakers, lessons, discussion prompts, events, training opportunities, and many other resources to help you plan successful mentoring sessions. So please be on the lookout for our first newsletter coming soon, and stay tuned for exciting information later this fall on virtual pen pal opportunities. Thanks for your time this morning, and have a great start to the year.